So the title of this message on today is What Dies in the Valley. We're going to Ezekiel chapter 37. And it reads, "The hand of the Lord was on me, and he brought me out by the Spirit of the Lord and set me in the middle of a valley. It was full of bones." In case you didn't hear me, I said it was full of bones. He led me back and forth among them, and I saw a great many bones on the floor of the valley. Bones that were not just any kind of dry, they were very dry. Somebody say very dry. This is what the sovereign Lord says to the bones. I will make breath enter you, and you will come to life. So I prophesied as he commanded me, and breath entered them. They came to life and stood up on their feet. A vast army. Somebody say a vast army. They didn't just stand up, but they stood up, a vast army. My God, on today. But I want to acknowledge who the bones were. Who were these bones? These very dry bones. These were the people of Israel. Y'all remember them? God had to raise up this prophet Ezekiel to come and speak and warn these people. Y'all, this is chapter 37. For the 36 chapters prior, Ezekiel is giving the laments of God, is giving the warnings to the same people that had already obtained the promised land, but then they started creating idols. God had already delivered you from the rejection. God had already delivered you from the lust. God had already delivered you from the rebellion. God had already delivered you out of the depression, yet and still with your blessed self, you went back. What dies in the valley is supposed to stay in the valley. But we like to leave the key up under the mat and tell the devil where he can enter back in. We like to still flirt around with somebody that you know was sliding through your DMs, and you know you were supposed to shut that down. What dies in the valley is supposed to stay in the valley. So the question is, what will you do with your restoration? What will you do with all of these messages that you have heard in the year of yes? What is it that you will do? Now, if a cell phone or a computer, if it starts to malfunction, you can take it over there to the Apple store. After a while, they're going to give you your phone back, but not a moment before they do what's called a factory reset. Has anybody ever had to have a factory reset? And you know I'm not talking about your iPhone or your computer. I'm talking about, has anybody had to go to the altar and have a factory reset? Has anybody had to delete some old contacts? Anybody had to get rid of some apps that were taking up your time and your strength and your energy? Has anybody had to go through a transition and a change? And because the people of Israel kept showing up as somebody other than themselves, they kept trying to put on other people's clothes. They kept trying to put on other people's promises. They kept comparing themselves. They got caught up in the wrong relationships. They got caught up eating the wrong stuff. So then they find themselves dead in a valley, but not without another opportunity to live. Can these dry bones live? Can these dry bones, these very dry bones, can they live? And indeed, they have lived. And I'm looking at a whole lot of life in here. I'm looking at a whole lot of life in here. So you might as well make the change today. You might as well choose ye this day whom you will serve. Are you going to serve your own desires? Are you going to serve the world's desires? Or are you going to become the man of God, the woman of God who God is calling you to be? Because the land of milk and honey is yet and still yours. So there are some things that you got to leave in the valley. There are some things that you got to have die off of you and die out of you so that you can become God's best, so that you can become your excellent self. Come on, somebody, and give God praise in this place.